Welcome to Doomscroll. I'm Lisa Curry.
Hey, and I'm Matthew Sheffield. And today we're joined by Lance Aksamit. He is an associate editor with me here at Flux. So great to have you here today, Lance.
Excited to be here on my very premiere on Doomscroll. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good to have you. I was listening to the news this morning, and it's actually really funny to me, this whole Speaker of the House debacle, because it just keeps going. It's so dumb. I feel like the Girl Scouts are more organized. Like any random group of people on the street will choose a leader more quickly than they have.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like, the world's worst reality dating show. That's what this is.
If it was filmed better, it might be the world's best dating show. I don't know.
This is true. If we could set up cameras, I could really get into this.
I want to see the shouting matches and the fisticuffs. Hopefully there are some. But yeah, so I guess as we're taping this right now on Tuesday, the Republicans in the House they finished, I think it was like 5 or 6 rounds of voting, secret voting, and they had 8 different candidates running to be the speaker. And in the end, this guy named Tom Emmer, who is from Minnesota, he came out on top just barely, seems like almost the absolute minimum that they needed of the votes. And so now they're going to put him up to be the speaker again. The third contestant is going to try his chance at the fecal covered rose.
I was really disappointed that Gary Palmer didn't make it because he just released his Palmer principles on Twitter just the other day, and they're pretty much just a recipe for how to make gridlock even worse, and it's fantastic. His pinned tweet on Twitter is still from January about how gas stoves is fascism, or like trying to get rid of gas stoves is fascism. So he was my favorite.
Listen, I don't know that it's fascism, but I don't want people to get rid of gas stove. Anyone that prefers an electric stove, I know this is a total aside, but anyone that prefers an electric stove, I'm like, oh, you can't cook. You don't know how to cook it because they just don't cook as well. The temperature's fucked up.
Anyone ever try to use a wok on an electric stove? It just doesn't work. A good stir fry needs a flame, So yeah. I guess I'm siding with with Gary Palmer on this one. It wasn't one of his principles, but it should have been.
Yeah, yeah, I'm going down with the boomers on this one.
Well, yeah, I guess you're hating on the George Foreman grill. That's a boomer thing too, though.
Yeah, it's too small. What do you get? 2 chicken breasts on there? I'm trying to, again, you're trying to cook a meal for people. This is.
Well, see, I'm not trying to. People don't want
to. Hulk Hogan actually passed on the George Foreman grill. It was pitched to him first, and he was like, "Nah, no, I've got some weird Stretch Armstrong character coming my way. I'm gonna go with that."
Also, the intensity of his energy, I feel like, is a little weird for healthy grilled chicken.
It seems funny that most of the millennials seem to be introduced to Foreman not from boxing but through his grill. I didn't know he was a boxer when I first heard about George Foreman.
Yeah, because it was what were we in elementary school when it came out? It's not like I had been into boxing. And then
I was into paninis, so
yeah.
Well, and actually that reminds me. I saw a story the other day about how this woman was writing how her Gen Alpha daughter thinks that Nirvana is a clothing brand.
And
I was like,
God bless.
Man, that's making me feel old there.
Yeah.
Because if you go into Target, it is the case they do have shirts that say Nirvana on them. And it's these t-shirt companies have recycled a bunch of defunct 90s bands and put them on shirts just as a way to make cheap money. But apparently they're very popular, these Nirvana shirts. I had no idea.
No, it's the current trend of nostalgia. It's a little depressing in a way, but I teach 8th grade. All my kids have t-shirts from bands and troll dolls, things that haven't been around for forever, but all of them haven't. They couldn't name a single, anything about any of these things. They think they're just, it's just the vibe.
Yeah, so apparently, just to bring it back really quick, I guess Republicans are now having, it says, a series of secret votes.
They require a majority of the Republicans to go forward on
Mhm.
this, but they're also against majority voting for normal people for regular elections. Like they're fine not having the majority. In fact, they're
Well,
kind of against it.
yeah, forget
Usually.
majority. They're against voting, just voting in general. They just want to, anoint Trump and then move forward with him and whomever else they choose.
I'm waiting for
Yeah.
someone to put forward a bill to gerrymander the House. I feel like that's probably the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah, some states get more votes than others. There you go. But you know what? It is giving me I have to wonder if it's giving Trump an idea of doing a contest to make who will be his vice presidential running mate.
They should probably turn it into a TV show. I think that would be ideal. Just the next step of, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes forward and tries to not have a running mate. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he proposes that. Like, it's just going to be me. I'm so powerful and I'm so good that I don't even need a vice president, because he doesn't know any of the functions of any of the offices anyway.
No.
Like, as far as he's concerned, it's an AGM.
Well, and Carrie Lake actually said that. Sadly, Lisa, you actually.
Oh no!
You think you're joking, Lisa? You think you're joking? No, these people are for real.
They're gonna blow some shofars, and Trump's gonna walk into the Oval Office, man.
Oh God, but yeah. So yeah, you know what? We're predicting the news here for everybody just in the next several months, just so that's why people listen to this show. Let them know. But speaking of living in hell, though, the people who are living in Israel and Palestine, man, that mess just keeps continuing and getting worse and worse.
I don't want to step on this landmine, but it's awful. It's really awful, and it's heartbreaking to see all innocent people. My one thought that I will say on here, it does feel like the immediate aftermath of 9/11 where some people are so bloodthirsty, and it is that's really scary to me.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of that post 9/11 vibe. I think one thing that's different that definitely is how the media and the administration is definitely presenting the post 9/11 feel. But I feel like there's a lot more of the populace who, like you saw just last night and the night before, like tens of thousands of people out pro-Palestinian protests throughout like every major city. And that would not have happened like 2 days after, 7 days after, months after 9/11.
No. Yeah, no. I do appreciate that Biden acknowledged in some capacity, I'm not going to remember his exact wording, but that he acknowledged that, like, hey, we fucked up big time after 9/11. So let's take a beat and make a decision with a clear head. I mean, he didn't say that, but he said it in his own fumbling way.
He said that I fucked up after 9/11 because he was the whip, right? So he was the one that got all those votes to go and invade Iraq. So like, yeah, you kind of fucked up there.
Yeah. It was like stunning to me that any president would even acknowledge that, because I feel like so many people in politics are like, yeah, no, that was the best decision with the information that we knew was bad when we had it. And it's like, no, it wasn't. Just say you fucked up. Just say you fucked up.
Because there were plenty of people who were against it, and I personally fucked up on that. So hey, I'll say that too.
Oh yeah. I mean, we all. I was younger, but yeah, definitely very much pro Iraq War when I was in high school, because high school. But
yeah.
Well, and I think there's another difference with this also, though, is that, and this is kind of showing, some improvement as well, that, people are finally calling out Netanyahu for, the prime minister of Israel, because, for kind of creating the circumstances that led to all this happening. I mean, he basically built a prison for, 1 million people, and he built the wall. Like that. That's the other thing, like Trump supporters would always say, well, Israel has a wall. It's proof that walls work. Well, they don't work. Didn't really work. And people in Israel are really mad at Netanyahu. I think saw a poll. He has like a 29% approval rating. Like that's
Mhm.
I nothing like that remotely happened to George W. Bush, after 9/11.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
people
surprised.
are actually trying to hold him accountable, which is good. Like he's actually gonna have to resign because he fucked this up so bad.
I mean, I
Oh,
think he'll either resign or he'll do what people on the right tend to do, which is just like foot on the gas, just go even harder in that direction to be like, no, I'm going to prove to you that this way works.
but anyway, I guess some other people that have been very stupid lately, besides the House Speaker vote, the House Republicans, they came out with another bombshell, as they called it, and I saw it hyped on all the right-wing sites.
I love
They
it.
said, we have a bank record that shows that Joe Biden's brother wrote him a $200,000 check, and it was was it related to being bribed by China or Ukraine? It must have been. We have it here finally.
I'm still confused on what they were bribing him for, like in the theory. What is it again?
That's a great question.
Okay, so
I don't know if they know.
So they don't actually know where the money came from to begin with. So like when they were saying this, they didn't know. So supposedly they believe that the governments of China and Ukraine and whoever else, doesn't matter because it's made up, but they believe that the governments of China were bribing, that these countries were bribing Joe Biden's brother Jim and Hunter Biden and they were actually trying to pay Joe Biden in order to make policies that they wanted.
I thought it was because they had like a treasure trove of unreleased Hunter Biden dick pics. I thought that was what was happening. But, okay.
No, that's just what Marjorie has so that she could send it out to her constituents later. That's
right. She's probably got a whole room in her house filled with blown up dick pics.
I am not fetish shaming on this show. I am not fetish shaming here. Not what I do.
Marjorie's going to be handing out prints of his dick to trick-or-treaters this year.
Well, yeah. Although Lance, you found something that was remarkably similar to that story that you sent me. You gotta tell the audience about this one.
Yeah,
it is almost what you just said, Lisa.
It's pretty much the same thing. So like in I just saw it was in Virginia.
Virginia, yeah.
That's right, in Virginia, that they started sending out one of the representatives who's running for the Democratic Party. Her name is eluding me right now. I'll look it up real quick, but she was on Chatterbait, raising funds that way with her husband. Which also I read a great article and explained the name Chatterbait, like somebody wasn't sure, like Chatterbait, a combination of chat and masturbate. It's like, oh, that's where they got the name. Okay, cool. But yeah, apparently her competition was sending out screenshots from the Chatterbait sessions to Republican voters, I guess. But this time in the mail. This time they marked the envelopes with 18 plus, like it just says 18 plus only all over the envelopes. It's fantastic.
It's like a Girls Gone Wild commercial, but in snail mail.
Yeah,
Susanna Gibson. That's who it was. Susanna Gibson.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that is just it is shocking. Like I'm not shocked by a lot of things, but when I saw that, I was like, what? Literally sending pornography as a campaign mail,
which might have worked like 20 years ago or something. But your front runner Donald Trump is like literally sleeping with porn stars, has a bunch of different wives. Like that's your guy. So like, what are you trying to like boost her numbers? I'm not sure.
If anything, send me good porn to get me to vote for your candidate. And I think you just flip it and we're fine.
But yeah, the Republican L's, God, they just keep coming this week. It's like just so fast and it is only Tuesday as we're taping this. So, but it's just, the past couple of days, 3 Republican former lawyers for Donald Trump in his election lawsuit have now pleaded guilty in the criminal case against them in Georgia. Jenna Ellis today became the latest one, and before that was Sidney Powell, and this other guy named Kenneth Chesbro, whose name, of course, should be pronounced Cheesebro.
It
We
is the
could do that.
funniest name
We
amongst.
could-
I am voting to name him Kenneth Cheesebro, the God of Gouda, King Greer, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you have to. Trump has to be shitting his pants about all this stuff here, and it does make you
I
wonder
mean, I think
why
he's
did.
just generally shitting his pants, and that
He's
has
that old.
nothing to do with
Okay.
what's going on.
Yeah, well, more than normal then how much.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and so these three attorneys, they were, the pretty, pretty high up the food chain. I mean, both both Jenna Ellis and also Sidney Powell, they were there at that infamous Rudy Giuliani hair dye conference where they announced they were going to do all these lawsuits. And I want to see Rudy flip. Like whatever happens to that guy, it's going to be so entertaining. I'm waiting for it. I have my popcorn.
To think that this man went from like America's mayor to head leaking whatever is going on, standing in front of the Four Seasons Lawn Care Center, like how the tables have turned.
It's also like,
Oh yeah,
when you think about it, it's kind of damning of us that he was America's mayor in the first place, because it's like he just happened to be the mayor during 9/11. He didn't do anything. And that's like the bar for us. It's like that was like why Bush got elected a second time. It was like, oh, you were in office when 9/11 happened? Okay, well, you're probably cool. What?
Yeah, but Rudy, though, he really is kind of like a one-man parable of the Republican Party, the decline and fall of it, because because he had all these he prosecuted a lot of mafia people as a federal prosecutor, and he was on top of the world and people actually respected him, although I've seen people say from the inside that he was always kind of nuts and weird. You just couldn't see it, but nonetheless, whatever it was, like whether it's them becoming dumber or just people seeing how dumb they were, whatever you want to call it.
I also like, at what point, just going back to Trump, like where he's now claiming Sidney Powell is never his lawyer. I feel like we're still chalking it up to lies, but I'm like, I think his brain is going. I mean, I think there's some things that he's saying that he's either consciously lying, or he just has started to believe his own lies. And then I think there's other things where it's like, oh, I never even met that person, where I think that he really thinks that because his brain is fucking toast. I think this guy is done.
Yeah, I mean, that is just a symptom of the gerontocracy, I suppose. We got
the gerontocracy.
We've got the oldest and most unfortunate people running our lives. So
yeah, it's awful.
Well, yeah, but see, Trump he's like somebody who actually read that book, the infamous book, The Secret. You remember that was so popular? Trump actually lives those ideas in that book, that you can manifest reality just by saying whatever the hell you want.
Look, I will say there was,
and it's worked to some degree for him, right?
Yeah.
Well,
and working in entertainment, there was part of Trump's presidency where I watched it and I was like, oh, what am I doing? I'm following all the rules. I'm a fucking idiot. Like, joke's on me, truly. I'm like, I should just start telling people like, oh yeah, no, I have 15 Emmys and I'm touring theaters, and just like make up all this stuff. And it's like, people don't know. They don't check. I've been given the wrong credits before just on accident. I'm like, I may as well just run with it. Why do I have any shred of humility?
Bring lying on your resume to a whole new level.
Yeah. Not even exaggerating, just flat out making up jobs.
Third man on the moon.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, hell, that is what George Santos did. Although I think he's kind of proven there's a few limits on how far you can go with that.
That is a movie I would watch. Like a biopic on George Santos.
Oh
that is something needs to be made, and I want to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, yeah, and I'm sure somebody's working on it, but they probably don't want to release it until after he's in jail.
I mean, I've got a feeling he would probably sell his like life rights for like $30. So
Absolutely.
I think that it's got to be somewhere.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. But and I guess but speaking of life rights, though, you actually gave a perfect segue opportunity for our next story there, Lance.
You're welcome.
And that is that so Britney Spears just came out with her memoir, and it is like I keep seeing stories about it all over in every TV channel and website. It's like all over. People just keep talking about it, and I guess she's somebody that people have watched for 20 years, I guess, right? Or is it 30 at this point? I don't want to feel too old, so I won't. But yeah, like and so there's just so many stories there, and she decided that, and she's like, well, people are they're just taking this the wrong way, and I just wrote this stuff so I could, I actually, I don't know, she's like somebody I am always sympathetic to because she's just so normal, but also trapped in such weird circumstances.
Yeah, I feel like she kind of has, I mean, if you see her Instagram now, she kind of has like, I think, arrested development from being trapped in that thing. But I remember years ago, there was some interview where somebody was, I don't remember what they asked her, but she was like talking about how much she liked Diet Pepsi, and the internet was like, this fucking hillbilly. And it's like, guys, what? Yeah. Get a hold of yourself. It was just like everything about like to have been tortured from the inside by her dad, who like made her get an IUD, and she was like, all I want is a family, and I have money, and I want to stop doing this. And to be trapped by your own parent is like that. I mean, my parents are assholes, but that's a new level. I mean, I have so much sympathy for her because now she's like finally free in the world, but she's fucked up from it.
Yeah. What can she do with it? So
apparently she can write about how small Justin Timberlake's penis is. Though,
yes. So. Good. He sucks. He sucks so much.
I don't know. Why does he? I'm curious. Does he, besides the small penis, is the only thing I know about Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, that's not necessarily damning, but she also released that like he broke up with her via text while she was shooting a music video, and I'm like, okay, that's not great. But I think he sucks because after the Super Bowl incident with Janet Jackson, they had planned that episode where, by the way, her nipple's not even showing, it's covered. It was just like a thing that he tore off. Obviously it was planned. We all saw that. And after that, she was pretty much blacklisted, and he went on the rounds ass kissing and only defending himself and saying it was an accident, and I don't know what Janet was thinking, and just completely threw her under the bus and just asked this to all these execs. And I'm like, man, fuck you.
That's a tiny dick move. Don't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and he's the one that fucking did it, like that pulled it off. Like, okay, now whose fault is it? Fault, quote unquote. It's but yeah, and I mean, yeah. So I think Britney Spears, though, she was in some ways kind of the prototype of living your life online person. Like before really the internet, she was like that. That's how early on she was doing this stuff, and and I think that people do feel some amount of sympathy and they want her to have something that she can do, but I don't know. I mean, she'll probably have to get back into singing because what else would she do? I don't know.
I don't know. I think she just has to recover that money because she's a gajillionaire, but her dad just siphoned so much of it for himself that I'm like, I don't know. How do you get money back from somebody who's robbed you and spent it all and has no way of making that same amount of money? It's not like, what's he going to work at fucking Sears Sears doesn't even exist. I'm in my 90s.
Maybe she should get together with like Dane Cook and they could talk about it.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. That's another fucked up.
But she definitely needs a handler for certain. If you watched her Instagram, she needs somebody helping her out. Like
she needs a real person that doesn't have terminal entertainment industry brain. That's like, hey girl, you look a little cuckoo, and like, yes, be wild and free, and also, why are you dancing with kitchen knives?
Yeah, what's that about? What's that about? Doesn't seem safe.
Well, although technically they were fake knives, though. Just in her defense.
Yeah, I mean, I really I would like another woman, because I'm a little bit younger than Britney. We're roughly the same age. I would like a woman our age who's a normal non-entertainment industry person to be like, babe, you got to stop with the low-rise shorts. Like, we left that a long time ago. We're not doing that anymore. Like, that's the number one thing that makes her look crazy, is like the maiden tops and the low-rise shorts. It's like, that's, if she had on a normal pair of jeans and a top, you'd be like, all right, dancing with fake knives. It's strange, but
yeah. I mean, what she needs to do is just, have one of those celebrity interview podcasts, feel good celebrity interview podcasts, This is me talking about, hope, or, whatever, insert positive adjective here. Like, that's what she needs.
Somebody with a large set of producers. Yeah.
That's right. Yes, Drew Barrymore. Like, she would do a better job of it, because like now everybody doesn't like Drew Barrymore because she tried to fuck over.
What? People don't like Drew Barrymore anymore? I am out of this circle.
Because of the writer's strike. So like a week before the writer's strike was resolved, and so dumb of her to do this at the last minute like this. But she went forward and she was like crossing the picket line and like hiring scabs and making her show. And she was like, this is something I considered, and I think I don't remember what she said exactly, but it was some version of like, I just need to do this for my staff. Meanwhile, all the other like late night hosts were paying their staff out of their pockets, and she's been a millionaire since she was like 4. So it's like, come on,
she's richer than all of them.
And then she got a bunch of backlash, and then people were like protesting her show or picketing outside of her show. And then she walked it back, and then the writer's strike ended like 4 days later or something, like comically short, where it was like, you just destroyed your whole reputation for that. And Bill Maher did the same exact thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Bill Maher did that too, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's, anyway, but I guess so, I don't know. Do we need Tim Scott? I mean, it is funny.
No one needs Tim Scott. I don't know what kind of question that is, but nobody needs Tim Scott.
Okay, well now we have to leave that in, Lance, because you had a good line there.
Well, I mean,
yeah. Well, no. You got to tell the story, Lisa. You roll this one, or actually, let's have Lance tell the story. Yeah, what do you mean no one leads Tim Scott? Who is Tim Scott? I bet a lot of people have no idea who this guy is.
Oh, yeah. So, No, Tim Scott, like, he was the presidential candidate, or hopeful, I suppose. Has he announced his, has he actually announced he wants, like, officially that he's going to run for presidency?
Oh, yeah.
He did? I knew he was planning on it, like, forever ago, but I never knew if he officially, he was the hopeful after, like, a lot of the donors were like, DeSantis is really fucking up a lot. Like, he's the least charismatic person I've ever seen in my life. So a lot of the big donors like, Tim Scott, that's our man. But it seems like he's circling the drain right now. It doesn't look good for him for certain.
Yeah, he was like, it is so funny though, seeing these Republican oligarchs just constantly flushing their money down the toilet.
Yeah.
Like, they have gotten out of paying their taxes, so at least they're losing their money this way. But yeah, it's just like they have literally moved from person to person, and they're all fucking doomed. Like, none of these people are going to actually go after Trump in a hard way, in a meaningful way, and and so they just keep failing, and and I guess, let's see, I mean, at this point, I guess it seems like Nikki Haley is the current, anti-Trump candidate of the moment among the Republican billionaire class, and it's like, that's not going to work, and they can't even see it.
Like
they can't even, like, who's going to vote for Nikki Haley?
They can't sort out that it's
normal
not 2008 or 9. It's like, it's not like 25 years ago or whatever. She would have been the ideal candidate for them, but like anymore, she doesn't stand a chance. It is interesting though, like how, like with Tim Scott and like all these other Republicans who got to play like the anti-war card during the Ukraine, because of the Ukraine crisis. Now with the Israeli situation, they're all like pro-war again. Suddenly all the like the anti-war thing is all like, where'd that go? It's like, no, this war, we like this one. Like it's nuts.
Oh yeah, no, and that actually is a really important point, because a lot of people who are kind of generally anti-war, they really got fooled by that shit. And it's they don't actually pay attention to what these people believe, because and now, but they're exposing it so much, and like these assholes want to go to war with Iran.
I mean, that's what we were talking about at the top of this, where like it does feel like post 9/11 in that way. It's also scary because I'm like, hey man, you're not just talking to people here. The whole world is hearing an American politician say, I want to go to war with Iran. And a lot of people aren't sorting out whether or not this person is really powerful or what they're doing. They're just hearing that this is what an American politician is up to. And I'm like, we don't need that. Please shut the fuck up right now. Please.
Yeah, just completely just repeating known like falsehoods, just like constantly, just because it fits what he wants to say.
Yeah. Well, I guess in other horror news, but more fun horror news.
In a fun, horrifying thing.
Yes, that's right. In a fun, horrifying way. It is, of course, Halloween coming up, and we had got 2 Halloween stories here at the end here that are fun, and one of them is about the creator of the Chuckie horror doll franchise has now formally said where the inspiration for Chuckie came from. And
wasn't this already known?
I guess I don't know.
Nobody said that. Garbage Pail Kids were like a reaction to Cabbage Patch Kids, and that all was like the same time. And
I have to say, I wasn't surprised at all when he said that it was Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah.
I just thought everybody already knew that. Like looking at Chuckie, it's like that's a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Yeah, I still have my Cabbage Patch Kids that I had when I was a kid, and I was obsessed. And my older brother Jim had one.
Oh my!
And he got it and didn't like the name, and so he had my mom have the name legally changed. Like she had to send in like the certificate, because there's like a whole process you do, like a quote unquote official. Here I go with the air quotes again. Somebody please stop me. This is so embarrassing. Like there's an official way to do it through the company.
There's a birth certificate.
Like,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and you can see them come out of their cabbage in the Cabbage Patch factory. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
You don't know this, Matt? Come on.
Yeah.
Well,
brilliant
I knew
idea,
about
by the way.
I knew about the cabbage coming out of the cabbage. Like, to be honest, like I always thought Cabbage Patch Kids were fucking terrifying.
Hideous.
Yeah. I did, Lisa. Yeah, when I first heard about them, I was like, wait, these are like mutant vegetable babies that are like pod people, and you think they're cute?
Yeah.
I made fun of my sisters mercilessly sometimes.
Isn't the whole thing from like a German folk tale? Like, isn't that right? Like I don't know. In my like
I don't know about
back
that. But
brain,
if so,
like some story about that.
Well, pretty much all the German folk tales are like horrific child.
They're all scary.
No, there was a whole debate inside of like my family and our very conservative Christian community when I was a kid on whether Cabbage Patch dolls were of the devil or not. So like we finally landed on the side that my sisters could. I wasn't allowed to have one, but my sisters could have a Cabbage Patch doll. But our neighbors, it's too new age, man. Those babies coming from cabbages, them and Pokemon. Bad.
But you know what? See, but isn't it? That's an advantage though that they're not coming from sex, and so you don't have to tell kids about that. See,
babies come out of the ground. Hello.
That's right. It's an improvement on the stork myth.
That's so good.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, that's a good time because I think Tim Scott actually looks kind of like a Cabbage Patch Kid. Actually, looking
A
at
little
it.
bit.
All
A little
right.
bit. He has a very round
A little bit.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last Halloweenish story, and I added to this, Matt. I don't know if you saw, but so Barbie, obviously, humongous movie, so it's in the top 10 of costumes this year.
Of course.
Number
And
one.
it was like, yeah, I'm like, I would love to have done that, but I don't want to be the same as everyone else. But what's also really funny to me is that SAG sent out an email to membership saying, asking members to not dress up as characters that are from movies that were produced by struck companies. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like they're in negotiations right now, currently Tuesday. And I'm like, this is not the thing that's going to get the studios.
No, it's going to do it.
Rights against AI. What are you talking about, man? It's embarrassing.
And it's like, how would you ever enforce that on the members? Jesus, come on now.
How are you regulating this? It's fucking Halloween. Give me a break. What are you talking about?
Yeah. No, I can see Barbie being a very popular dress up, but I think the worst people possible are going to be dressing up as Ken. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, my kids are going to be an alien and a Pokemon. That's what my kids are going to be. So.
My daughter's going to be Dolly Parton. So.
Oh, cute.
Very nice.
If I can pull it together in time, I want to be Rod Stewart.
Ooh, that's a good
I just love him. I like to dress in drag, I guess, for Halloween. It's just so much more fun than doing I'll dress slutty 364 days of the year, and then Halloween I'll dress up as a dude.
Give me a slutty dude, Rod Stewart. If someone's a slutty dude,
way slutty. He's
Rod Stewart.
That's the thing. I'm like, I gotta have like a deep V-neck.
Yeah, down to your belly button.
Glue some hair. All right, Rod Stewart's pretty hairless. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. All right. Well, this has been fun. Well, so Lance, let's tell people where they can keep up with what you're up to nowadays, and talk about the book just a little bit here.
All right. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter, or you can find my book at anywhere good books are sold. It is Youth Group: Coming of Age in the Church of Christian Nationalism, and it's pretty much just about how I came of age in a church of Christian nationalism and a little bit about its history and how, it came to be such a prominent force in American politics.
Okay, awesome.
That sounds fascinating.
And then, yeah, it is a good book. I actually have blurbed it for Lance, so I can verify it.
He's on the back. He's on the back cover.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, but yeah, and everybody make sure to follow at Doomscroll Show as well. And then I am most places at Matt Sheffield.
Yeah, and I'm most places at Olympian Lisa Curry, primarily Instagram, where I post show updates and stuff. So follow me there.
Cool. All right. Thanks everybody for watching or listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.